Greetings and salutations. So, over the past couple of weeks, I've been wanting to make a video highlighting a couple of stories that I have, some interesting experiences that I've encountered within the last few years. So, I figured what better time than to pull everybody around the campfire, bust out the s'mores and the hot dogs, and share the story of my first and only ever ride along that I went on with an officer from the Albuquerque Police Department, because this story is, one of my favorites, one of the craziest things that's ever happened to me. Up front, this is not going to be any type of analysis or commentary on law enforcement or police brutality or anything like that. It's simply a story of my experience going on a ride along. And just as another side note, I understand that there were some people that are going to be discussed in this story that probably weren't in the best state of mind or in the best physical or mental conditions. This is not me, making fun of those people or anything like that. This is just the story of going on a ride along through the eyes of an 18-year-old kid witnessing this stuff firsthand. So there I am, late 2011. I'm a senior in high school. And at the time, I thought I really wanted to go into law enforcement. I really wanted to make that my career. And I was just super interested in everything related to law enforcement. I was totally gung-ho about it. I thought, this is going to be my future career. This is really what I want to go into. My senior year of high school, our school required us to do a senior project to graduate. So this senior project revolved around us studying some type of future career path or some type of interest, and we would make this big presentation about it, and we would present it to our peers and our teachers. So one of the requirements that we had for this project was that we had to go out and interview and or interact with somebody who either worked in the job field we were studying in or was a professional in the interest that we were reporting on. Obviously, I had to go on a ride along because I wanted to see what a day in the life of an Albuquerque police officer was truly like. I got lucky because at the time we had a couple of family friends, and both the husband and wife were police officers. They hooked me up on a really good deal. They told me that they were going to set me up with an officer who worked in the southeast quadrant in Albuquerque on a Saturday night. And anybody that's from Albuquerque or knows anything about it knows that the city is divided up into 4 quadrants. And the southeast quadrant is mostly taken up by an area that is officially known as the International District, but locals here refer to it as the war zone. For decades, that part of town has been plagued by violence and prostitution and drugs. Central Avenue, which is the old Route 66, runs right through this part of town. And on any given day at any time, the roads are just filled with transients and people shooting up drugs at the bus stops and, prostitutes walking up and down the street. As a kid who wants to go into law enforcement or who wanted to go into law enforcement at one time, this was the place to be. This is where all the action was going to be. And, I didn't want to be going on a ride along with an officer who was stationed in a safe part of town where the most action that we were going to get all day was pulling over somebody for a busted taillight or something. I wanted to see some junkies. I wanted to see some crazy shit. I didn't want to take it easy that night. I wanted to go, balls to the wall and see what Albuquerque had to offer in the worst part of town on a Saturday night. So I remember, I think it was October, November. It's cold outside and I'm just in blue jeans and a hoodie. And I drive down to the police station, and it's the station on the corner of Catherine and Louisiana. Anybody that's from Albuquerque knows that is not particularly a glamorous intersection in the city. I drove down there. I was ready to see some shit. I walk up to the door of the police station, meet up with the officer that I'm with, and I just remember like I didn't sign any paperwork or anything. I didn't get issued any gear. I didn't sign any types of forms or anything like that. He was just like, yo, my cruiser's outside, like let's get ready to go. And you know, I'm not too sure what the protocol is for ride-alongs. I don't know if I was supposed to sign any type of paperwork or if that's just how these things work, where it's like you just show up and go. But yeah, I didn't get issued any gear. I didn't sign any forms or anything like that. And I just got into the police cruiser with this officer. It was kind of cool because right from the beginning, we kind of started bringing up some small talk and chit-chatting about just random stuff. And I found out that this guy was the son of the school resource officer that I had in middle school. And that officer was also my basketball coach in 8th grade. So we found some common ground there. We found some talking points, and it kind of made everything a little bit more casual. And it kind of just proved how small the world actually is. But after that, it was a little bit more comfortable. I felt like we had some type of connection there where it wasn't going to be like some awkward night with me sitting in the passenger seat of his car, just following him around like a puppy. So the first couple hours, you know, there's nothing too crazy going on. We pulled over a couple cars. One vehicle didn't have like a license plate or something. Yeah, the second vehicle had some tint that was like way too dark. And the action really started kicking off a couple hours in. And we received a call that there were some people living in a home that had been foreclosed on. There wasn't supposed to be anybody in this house. And somebody had called the police saying that they saw some sketchy people staying in this home. We drive down there. It's the officer that I'm with, me and his partner, who's in a different vehicle. And we all pull up to the house. It's a strange house. It was built like probably like in the 50s, and it kind of had like a weird shape to it. It was an L shape where the long part of the L was the garage door, and then the short part of the L was the front door. So when you went up and knocked on the front door, you were kind of encased in this little corner, and you couldn't see anything on the sides of the house or in the back of the house. You were just in this little pocket. The officer that I'm with, he's like, yo, I think I saw somebody kind of moving inside. Yeah, I'm going to walk around to the back to kind of investigate. And I'm just standing there just like a log. It just kind of minding my own business, you know, just thinking this cop's going to walk around the corner, go and look around and stuff and come right back. But the second he walks by the garage and turns the corner to go to the side of the house, he draws his pistol. And I'm just sitting there like an idiot, just thinking, oh shit, this guy like just drew his gun. And I'm sitting there in my blue jeans and my UNM Lobos hoodie, not having a clue on earth what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, yo, I didn't sign any paperwork. I don't know what the fuck's going on. If this dude starts shooting or if they get into a shootout, like I'm fucked. I don't have any gear. I'm just in the middle of this situation that could easily like kill me, you know? Like I don't know what the fuck's going on. The officer draws his pistol and he's yelling, get down, get down, get down. What are you doing? And this guy without a shirt on comes around from the side of the house. The cop is like, what the fuck are you doing here? What the fuck are you doing here? Get down. The guy's like, bro, like, just chill, man. Like, me and my chick are like staying in this house. I mean, we don't got no place to go. I know we're not supposed to be here, man, but like, we're just inside. We're trying to make some broccoli cheddar soup. That's all we want right now, bro. And I realized that like, at some point in time, I forgot my spork, bro. I forgot it. It fell out of my pocket. I don't know. But I just came around to the side of the house to find my spork. Just so I could eat some broccoli cheddar soup with my chick, bro. That's all I'm trying to do. And the cop I'm with is just like, oh, how convenient that the second some cops knock on the door, you guys kind of start shuffling around inside and then you try to sneak out the side of the house to go look for your spork to eat your broccoli cheddar soup. He's like, man, sit your ass down. Like we need to have a talk. The guy without the shirt on like sits down on the curb and one of the cops starts talking to him and he's like, yeah, bro, like, I mean, my chick is kind of in there too, but she might be like a little bit naked or something, you know? The cop I'm with, his partner is like, well, I need to go into the house and get her out, so that's a risk I'm willing to take is to go into this house and see your chick naked. So he walks into the house. We're sitting there, the cops ask him all of his cop questions and stuff, just trying to figure out what's going on. And his partner comes out of the house with this woman, and the look on his face, I mean, it looked like somebody just punched him in the face, and then he watched his puppy get run over by a semi truck. A look of despair, a look of disgust. And he comes out and he's like, well, he wasn't lying. She was naked. He just gets the chills. I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I don't know what kind of horrendous things could be going on inside this house. I don't know what this woman looked like naked. I don't know what she could have been up to. But whatever this man just saw in this home literally is bringing this man to almost tears. I mean, he looks totally defeated and just totally outright disgusted by whatever this woman did in this home and whatever was inside. We have the man and the woman sitting down on the curb, and the cop I'm with is like, hey man, like, you want to go inside and check out the house and see what's kind of going on in there? And I was like, oh yeah, definitely. Like, let's go check it out. So we walk around the side of the house and we go into the back door. By God, this had to have been, in my 18 years of existence at the time, the most horrific thing I had ever seen, and it was the worst smell that I had ever smelled in my life. We walked into this home, and the carpet is just covered in dead cockroaches, needles, alcohol bottles, dirty sleeping bags, like rotting food. The walls and the carpet are supposed to be white, and they're just stained black from whatever mischievous, nasty things that people were doing in that house. And I just remember the smell of that home was like, have you ever smelled something so horrible that like your nostrils kind of burn and your eyes kind of get, teared up? Like, that's kind of how this smell was. It was just absolutely putrid. And we actually did see in the home that they had a little makeshift campfire set up in the living room, and they were actually making broccoli cheddar soup. So, I mean, the guy was partially telling the truth, but the part about the spork, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could believe that. So we are talking to these people, sitting them down on the curb, and unfortunately we find out that the guy has a warrant out for his arrest. So we have to load him into the back of the cop car. And the woman, we just tell her, you can't be here anymore. You got to go find somewhere else to stay. So she walks off. She's all pissed off that her hubby just got arrested, and she left her broccoli cheddar soup in the house, and she can't stay there anymore. So she's walking away, and we have the guy in the backseat of the cop car, and we have to take him to jail. After that, we leave, and we did a couple other various things. We encountered a man who was like urinating all over the sidewalk and had like pissed on somebody's car. And we got there, and the dude was just like hysteric. I mean, he was just cussing. He was running around with his pants around his ankles, and he's just running around, just peeing everywhere. Like, you can see the streams up and down the sidewalk of where this guy was like walking, pacing back and forth, and just peeing. But, nothing really too crazy happened after that, until we got a call saying that there was a guy inside of a lobby of a building that was talking about wanting to shoot himself and wanting to shoot everybody that was in the building. Obviously we had to take that very seriously, because we don't know exactly what's going on with this guy. Like, he could be going on a killing spree. He could, be wanting to commit suicide. We fly into the parking lot of this building, and we kick open the door, and it's like a waiting room, like at a doctor's office or something. And there's, some chairs, and then right in front of us there was like a receptionist desk that was covered with bulletproof glass. And we walk in, and we're expecting to see some guy like in a cartoon with his head around some woman, using her as a shield, with a gun up to her head or something. But we walk in, and there's a woman, the receptionist, sitting at the desk, reading a magazine, playing with her hair, and popping her bubble gum. This lady was the absolute textbook definition of unbothered. This is the level of unbothered that people should genuinely strive for. This is absolute zen for this woman. And it was a little confusing, because we got a call that there was a maniac on the loose in this building, And then we walk in and this woman is just sitting there reading her Vanity Fair, popping her bubble gum. And so we didn't really like understand what the urgency behind this was. We ran in and the woman is like sitting there reading her magazine and she just points. Doesn't even look at us. Doesn't even say a word. And she just points to some dude sitting in the corner on a chair in the fetal position who was just freaking the fuck out. So we all walk over to this guy. He's sitting there like hugging his knees in the fetal position. He's holding a bag of peanut M&Ms. I mean, he is white knuckling those bitches. I mean, he had a death grip on these M&Ms and he's just sitting there rocking back and forth. And he's like rocking so hard that M&Ms are kind of flying out of the bag and like rolling around all over the place. So, you know, at first we had to calm this guy down, but we had like projectiles flying at us, these peanut M&Ms. You know, we start talking to this guy and the officers are like, "Hey buddy, what's wrong? Like we got a call that you might want to hurt yourself or that you might want to hurt other people. Like what's going on?" And this motherfucker just starts going, "Man, like I just fucking hate myself, man. I just want to fucking blow my fucking brains out, man. I want to fucking take all you motherfuckers with me, man. Like, nobody fucking loves me. I want to fucking blow my brains out, and I'm going to blow your brains out too, motherfucker." So this guy's talking about wanting to blow his brains out and blow everybody else's brains out around him. The guy is just rambling on about how nobody loves him and how he just wants to pretty much destroy anything in his path. You know, he's rambling on and on and on, and there's peanut M&Ms kind of flying all over the floor everywhere. One of the officers I was with kind of started to get impatient because they're trying to ask him questions about, you know, what's going on, what's his mental state, you know, what kind of activities has he been up to, what kind of drugs he was on. They're trying to get, you know, some information that they can give to the EMTs when they get here. So one of the officers was just like, "All right, bro, like, you're just gonna have to fucking tell me. Like, tired of asking you questions. Like, what kind of drugs are you on? What kind of drugs do you do? You know, we're trying to help you out here." And the guy was just so excited to tell us the list of drugs that he had taken and what kind of drugs that he enjoyed. I mean, it was like he had recited this. He was ready for this time, this day, this minute to tell these officers about his infatuation with this long list of drugs. I mean, this dude had it memorized. I mean, like, I don't even think Hollywood actors memorized their lines as good as this guy remembered all the drugs that he had done. So he's sitting there telling us, "Well, you know, like, I like heroin, I like meth, love weed. A little bit of weed's not too bad from time to time. You know, I love meth, but let me tell you something, bro. I love crack." So I had to pick up all the M&Ms off the floor so my dog wouldn't eat them. This man loved crack. Let me tell you, if there was somebody that was devoted to, you know, spending his life's journey and his adoration on one thing, it was crack. I mean, this guy was the absolute crack master. I mean, I've seen people on Oprah who win cars that weren't even this excited about winning the car. I mean, this guy was absolutely stoked, absolutely enthralled to tell us about how much he loves crack. You know, there's a long list of other drugs that he liked, but nothing compared to crack. And I'm not even kidding. Like, when he told us about crack, I mean, it was a jump for joy. It was a little kid getting a unicorn on Christmas, walking out to the Christmas tree and seeing a unicorn out there by the tree. The parents are like hugging each other with their mugs of coffee in their hand. They kind of give each other a kiss because they're so happy to see their little niño with their unicorn. I mean, that is nothing compared to this man's love of crack. You know, when he said that, M&Ms everywhere. I mean, the floor is covered in peanut M&Ms. The officer that I'm with is like, "All right, buddy, well, the EMTs will be here shortly. We just want to check on you, make sure you're okay, make sure that this crack isn't going to kill you." I've never tried crack, but this guy starts telling us about how crack makes him feel. And he told us, you know, if anybody out there has tried crack, maybe you can attest to this. Maybe you can confirm this guy's hypothesis about how crack actually interacts with the human body and the mind. But he tells us, bro, like when I take crack, like my brain turns the size of like a marble, and then it rolls out of my ear like a little fucking basketball, fool. And once it falls out of my ear, it just rolls across the floor like a basketball. You know, like I said, I don't know what crack feels like, but somebody please confirm that this is actually what crack feels like physiologically, because I mean the dude made it sound pretty enticing. Don't do crack. You know, we're standing there knee deep in peanut M&Ms. The paramedics finally show up, or one of the EMTs walks up to this dude. He was like, "Hey buddy, I'm EMT so and so. You know, I'm gonna put this little clip on your finger. I just need to get some of your vital signs and, you know, check your heart rate and your oxygen in your blood, and I just need to make sure you're doing okay." When the EMT told this guy that he was going to take his vital signs, this guy looked disgusted. I mean, it was a look of absolute disgust. This guy was insulted that this EMT was even speaking in his direction. He gave him that look like Russell Westbrook gives to reporters when they ask him a stupid question. This guy just looks at this EMT and is just like, he's sickened. After he tells him he needs to take his vital signs, this guy is just like, "Motherfucker, I ain't got no vital signs." And the EMT is just like, "Well, yeah, you do have vital signs, motherfucker, or else you wouldn't be fucking alive right now." This guy has now shifted out of the fetal position and is now sitting on the chair with his head down and his arms like drooped down to the ground. This dude's slouching in his chair. He's pissed off. He doesn't believe he has vital signs, and he is just absolutely appalled that this EMT would have the gall to ask him to take his vitals. The EMT is like, "All right, buddy, like, I'm gonna need to borrow that finger so I can check your vitals." The EMT kind of reaches out for this guy's hand, and he grabs his middle finger. I don't know what the protocol is for putting these clips on people's fingers to check their vitals, but this EMT was gonna put it on his middle finger. And this guy yanks it back, and he just looks up at the EMT with this twisted look on his face. I mean, the look of pure evil. Just looks up at this guy, sticks his middle finger out, and just starts wiggling it right in front of his face, and just starts maniacally laughing like an evil villain living in a volcano. He just confessed to his sidekick that he's gonna take over the world. Looks at this EMT, goes like this, and just laughing, just is blinking at you like an eyelid, motherfucker. Just flipping this dude off, just going nuts. And the EMT's pissed, and he just grabs his finger, finally puts the clip on his hand, gets his vitals, and they eventually put him on a stretcher, put him into an ambulance. And this guy has the audacity to be sitting on a stretcher, just flipping everybody off as they wheel him into the ambulance. The crime scene was brutal. I mean, there was countless peanut M&Ms that had lost their life in this battle. I mean, there was green and blue and orange and yellow dust, the remnants of peanuts, all over this waiting room floor in this center that we were in. And the entire fucking time, this woman sitting at the receptionist desk never looked up once. I mean, it must have been the most engaging article in Vanity Fair that this woman has ever read, to the point where all of this is going on and she doesn't even blink, doesn't even look. You can still see her twisting her hair around. I mean, this must have been such a daily occurrence for this woman that she was just so completely numb to it. Like a caffeine addict, like you drink so much coffee that eventually it doesn't even wake you up. This woman has seen so many crack fiends in this lobby throwing M&Ms around that this was just another day at the office. I really want to know, like, if this woman studied some type of Tai Chi or some type of meditation, because wherever she studied this, like, I'm gonna need to get in touch with those monks to teach me the level of unbothered that this woman has achieved. That was the last really entertaining thing that happened throughout the night. We met the Spork Bandit, you know, the Pissing Bandit, and the Crack Bandit, all within a matter of like a couple of hours. And after that, I was like, man, if I never see anything entertaining in my life again, I'll be set, because as long as I can remember the sound of those M&Ms hitting that hard tile floor in that center when that guy spazzed out, I'm totally fine. I don't ever need to remember any type of story ever again. I've seen it all. And this was only one night on a Saturday night. I mean, just imagine what these guys were having to encounter on a nightly basis. This story is probably absolutely nothing compared to what those guys have seen. You know, I just want to say that those officers that I was with, you know, they showed me a good time. They were very professional throughout the entire night, and you know, it was honestly just a really fun experience. So that is my encounter with Albuquerque Police Department on a ride along. Like I said, it was a lot of fun. You see some shit that you don't think you'll ever see in your life, but I'm sure these officers see it on a daily basis. I will never forget that crack dude, man. I mean, I hope he's doing a lot better now. I mean, I hope he's doing okay. Well, frankly, everybody that we met throughout the night, you know, I hope that they're in a better place and things are going better for them. Like I said, I'm not here to make fun of these people. I mean, just the firsthand encounter of seeing stuff like this when you're 18 and you don't really know what to expect. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, that was my encounter on my ride along, and I did pretty well on my senior project. I didn't get an A+ on it, but frankly I should have. Just seeing that I almost died by peanut M&M attack. I think my teacher should have been a little bit more forgiving on the grades, seeing that I was truly in harm's way. I mean, they're lucky I didn't have a peanut allergy, or I mean, I would have put my life on the line for this senior project. So that's it. I mean, if you guys like the video, let me know in the comments, or like the video. I'm always willing to dig into the archives of my mind and pull out some more stories for everybody. So let me know if you guys would like to hear another story sometime in the future. I will see you guys later. Have a good one.